Okay, this is the Parks and Recreation Board, August 18th, 2025 meeting, and this is Jen Dalrymple, and we'll go ahead and get started. Call to order. Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you for that. Okay, I'll entertain public comment on any items not included on the agenda. Hearing none, we'll move on to the approval of the minutes. Do I have any discussion on the minutes? Okay. If there's no discussion on the minutes, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
And I'll double that.
Okay, approve, and so we have a motion and second, and if there's no further, okay, then we will go ahead. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, minutes for July 21st approved. Okay, let's talk about the next steps and the alternative phases for the Rod and Gun Club.
But
Okay.
I think he was going to try to send us an email. Did he send us a?
I never got anything, no,
Okay.
sir.
I never did these.
Never received, okay. All right, how about the golf course? Scott, Jesse, either?
Jesse Swenson, president of the Old Baldy Golf Course. So Scott kind of touched on it last week, or last month, not last week. We are in the works of getting a bid to build a new clubhouse. Hopefully, we were hoping that we would have that this month, and it got delayed. So we're hoping to have it within the next month. With that, we're looking at putting in simulators. Kind of a restaurant, more like probably like snacks, those types of things, not really going full restaurant, but have a simulator, have a bar with just a beer and wine license, and kind of start small, have a pro shop, get a clubhouse, have it where we can make sure people are actually paying their greens fees, which will be a huge boost for us, because we have been getting increasingly more and more busy over the last, especially since COVID. People kind of found us. We're not the little golf course that we used to be, and it is getting more and more busy. So that's kind of where we're starting. We're looking, and ideally what this is going to do is help generate more revenue. And with more revenue, that will give us the opportunity to potentially start looking at another 9 holes. I know I think Scott emailed you the kind of the rough draft. That's kind of a very rough layout of what we're potentially looking at for the layout, using the confines of the current filed restriction, or not restrictions, but the what's filed currently, with the gun club having the safety zone going out. It's, as you can see, it's doable, it's fittable. We can get it in there. It's going to be, it's pretty tight. Typically, the average 9-hole golf course is 60 to 80 acres, and we're working with about just over 40. So it is considerably tight, but I think it's doable. I have a couple other things I'm going to bring forward. I didn't print a bunch, but I guess we kind of pass them out. So what that is, that is Out of Bounds Golf out of Manhattan, and it is a glorified driving range. If you've ever seen Top Golf, it's kind of a outdoorsy Top Golf. This was just proposed at our last board meeting to look at doing something like this in the interim before we build the new 9, is use that field where the driving range is, kind of running north. Oh, I have one more map. Kind of running north-south. We can position it so that you're hitting balls. So ideally, if we go forward with this, what we'll do is we'll put a shed in right up by the road. That we will be where you go to pay. We'll have the bar and wine, or the beer and wine being sold out of there, any little gloves, teas, those types of things, whatever we can sell out of there. If we model it after Out of Bounds, what they do is you pay by the hour or half hour. You can break it up, but it's not like a per bucket deal, so it's very family friendly. They have food trucks that come in, so they have food, beer, wine. You can rent it out for birthday parties, whatever you want to do. They do a lot of team building exercises out of it, which is kind of a neat idea also. But what our thought is, if we can do this, is we would put a shed out by the road with the bays going to the west, and you'd be hitting the balls due south, so kind of towards the Antonix field, which would give us enough room. So that would be like this version of the driving range. And then we could have where we currently pay for the balls now. You can go there, have a few bays hitting north where you're paying on a per bucket use, so it's more just practice warm up and not the glorified crazy range. And there's over 400 yards separating, so plenty of distance so that you're not going to be hitting balls into anybody. So that's definitely like a more near future possibility. Something in the next maybe 3 to 5 years is kind of what we're looking at. Get the clubhouse hopefully done so that we have the beer and wine license to go with it, and then potentially do this, and again try to just generate as much revenue as we can in order to hopefully potentially build another 9 holes. Understanding that the last I heard is it's approximately $1 million a hole, so it's a ways down the road. There are a lot of grant opportunities for this. We've kind of been exploring some, but I don't know if it'll be a full $9-10 million worth of grants, so we'll have to have quite a bit of matching to go with it. But that's kind of where we're at right now. Is short term. What we want to get first is the clubhouse with driving, or with the simulators. Three Forks just did this. It has been drastically changed them there. They have the amount of revenue that they've increased has been huge. The simulators are getting more and more popular, especially when you have the beer and wine with it. You run leagues all winter, so it just gives more of a 12-month revenue stream versus 6-ish if we're lucky. So that's kind of where we're looking at starting with the clubhouse. Once we get that going, potentially doing this with the driving range, which would we can start laying out some of the irrigation with the hopes of doing the new 9 down the road. But because right now that you cannot use like a typical picker on a cart because it's so bumpy, they drive right over the balls. So, which we can't do anything until we irrigate it. So that's kind of the hope, is we would get it irrigated, get the field leveled so that we can actually have somebody out there driving a cart picking up the balls versus going out there hand picking and getting blasted with something. So yeah, it's kind of where we're at right now.
I have a question.
Yes.
So I think we gave Scott last time a copy of this master plan.
Mm-hmm.
You've looked at it?
Yes.
I'm just wondering, on concept 1 and 2, it has parking on the, let's see, what is that road? Delger Road.
Mm-hmm.
And would you keep parking where it's at now at the golf course, or would you need to include the parking like they have it in here?
Are you talking for the new 9 or
Yeah,
for?
well, I don't know. They put parking right
Right.
here.
So
and that seems
if
odd.
that parking is there, the new 9 is not possible.
Right.
Because it takes up too much space.
And you guys didn't have that in your plan?
No.
That Scott sent?
No.
So, okay, good to know.
Yeah, so
because
the
that-
way, and the holes are numbered on there, so the way it would work out, the potential new 9, you would still start, hole number 1 would still be hole number 1. You'd play 1 and 2, jump over to the west, and you'd play 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then hole 3 would be number 12, and you finish coming into 18.
Okay.
And the potential with having the shed out there already for this driving range thing, we could leave it out there for a kind of a turn house to be selling beer, wine, drinks, Gatorade, snacks, balls, whatever we
Okay.
can have out there, so.
That's good to know because I think that helps. We've got to figure out which concept we've got to move forward with in order to proceed, so appreciate that. Thank you, Lucy.
Jesse, I have a question for you. So the simulators go in the clubhouse or the pro shop area? Or is the clubhouse going to be, pro shop going to be in that
Yes.
clubhouse?
So it's one building.
One
The
building.
concept that we're trying to get right now is, shoot, it's like 5,000 square feet building somewhere in there, is that right? Yeah. It's, 30 by 80, is that right? Yeah. Okay. Half of it, so kind of running lengthwise, half of it right now will be cold storage with the hopes of expanding down the road, but the front half, it'll be kind of the half towards the golf course, will have clubhouse, the bar, a pro shop. So an office space above the pro shop is what they've looked at right now, so whoever's running it will have an office space to be running it out of, but everything will be confined inside the building.
Okay, and then that building you're looking at putting at Delger and Golf Course Road
No, that building will
intersection?
be down where the current clubhouse is.
Okay,
It
that's
won't be
way
on
down
that
here.
property.
Yeah, it's not on that map there, because
Okay.
I was just trying to focus on the golf, or the driving range.
Okay,
But yeah, that would be the idea, is tear down what's there, because it is very much rat infested and non-usable. So I've talked to Ed Schindel, the fire chief, and have a plan to potentially burn it down once this is all finalized, once we have a plan. He said they can do that, so that'd be the cheapest way for us to get rid of it, plus it gives them training. But yeah, it would go basically right where the current clubhouse is, which is about half-mile south of Delger.
okay. Thank you. Any more questions for Jesse?
Exciting stuff.
Yeah, we're moving forward, which is, it's exciting.
All right,
Okay.
well, thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it. All right. So we have no one for the Rod and Gun Club then, at this time. Okay, let's go ahead and, County Trails map, Al, if you're up.
Does anybody want some bigger copies? We took everything he sent to Abra and made some bigger copies, maybe about 3 of each.
Okay,
Do you guys want some up there? Do you guys
Sure.
all have copies?
Is that the trail map stuff? you're talking about?
Yeah, there's one of each concept. I'm just gonna pass those to you. There's 2, I'll just give you
One of
2 at a
each
time.
being the north, middle, and south sections?
Everything you sent Abra, I made
Oh.
3 copies.
Yeah, I sent them all
Yeah.
electronically, so they can look at it.
I just thought it'd be easier to see if
so
you.
you
I have
are
one
here.
copy of your trails proposed plan.
This is Pepper City one, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, so if I remember right, it's a north section map, a central section map, a south section map, Copper City Trails, and the city of Townsend.
So I used your Broadwater County map, just had a regular Broadwater County map, with nothing on it.
Oh, yeah, okay. Location map.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the city plat,
City plat.
and then the one he has
Yeah,
up
that
on the
was
wall
that
there.
one's a 2 to them. I did 3 of each.
We all shuffle.
Okay. All right.
Oh, we got some more coming.
It's good. You ready? You're good.
This way. This is the tail end of Canyon Ferry, more detailed.
Further south.
Okay. Yeah, so it's a continuation of this one here with this piece right
Yeah.
there. And then this one,
It's just easier to see them.
This is nice, I haven't got those.
What's that?
I said, those are nice, I don't have those.
They delete.
copy at the end.
Got them all blown up. It's easier to see.
Okay, are we ready?
we are.
Okay, Al Christofferson, I'm the, I guess, the spokesperson for the BCDC Trails Committee. So we've been at this since March of '23. So we're 2.5 years into it. So I'm not exactly sure, Jen, what you want for an update. If you, I mean, I think we were here with you folks once before, but it was early on. But I'd be glad to just encapsulate it real quick for you if you would.
Okay, why don't you go ahead and
Okay.
do that? And then we can-
So the committee has been meeting, we started out meeting, almost monthly for the first, almost a year. And then we got to the point that we had the maps all done, and then it was trying to get some meetings set. So we held 2 public meetings, one at Bridger Brewing in Three Forks, and one at the lodge. And then we've taken input from those meetings. We've continued to work and talk with people, massage through, and about a year ago, we started drafting the plan. And so that's gone through, I don't know, 5 or 6 iterations of drafting and reviews. And so the one that you were sent is the latest draft of that plan. And it's also the first draft in which I took all the chapters and extraneous materials and dumped them into one document. It didn't come out exactly how I wanted. There's still some work to do there, but it's, I think it was readable anyway. So with that, we've continued to have discussions about the trails plan, trying to look up some partnership things. We continue to capture stuff on grants and things like that. We've had a lot of discussions with the State Highway Department. Other partners, we've talked with Gallup Valley Land Trust, Prickly Pear Land Trust, Southwest Montana Mountain Bike Association. They've all been very, very open, willing, and free with their information to give us. So there's still a lot of work from the standpoint of actually trying to get to the point, I think, of getting the financing stuff all put together. But there are ways to do it. You know, when you look at Gallatin and Lewis and Clark, they're much larger communities. They've got a lot of people. They've got, I think, a pretty solid base of funders. They've got organizations that have been in place for a long time working on this stuff. I don't know if you saw the news thing on the trail in Lewis and Clark County, but they've been working on that segment for 25 years. Doesn't surprise me. So this stuff doesn't happen quickly. I think what we've tried to do is capture what I would call the routing. So it's kind of the bones of any kind of future effort. And we've tried to identify those, 6, 8, 10 areas that would probably be the highest on the list for trying to actually develop a trail, having some success at trying to get some money to do it. So the map itself hasn't changed much since the first time. We did try and put a route around through the Wheatland area. Believe me, that's a very rough draft from people that don't live there. But it's trying to at least acknowledge that there needs to be a trail in that area. And there aren't any that exist now that I'm aware of. We tried to capture the city of Townsend by making a kind of a grid system that keeps the town kind of captured, so no matter where you are in town, you can get to a route that's going to get you someplace on sidewalks, maybe curb streets, those kind of things. So that's in there. We acknowledge in the plan that an awful lot of that stuff is county roads. They're probably going to be county roads for a long, long time before there would ever be a trail there, but in the meantime, they are a trail if you want to walk and hike it. I mean, it's a road, but it's an avenue. And one of the things, I don't know, Kate, if you want to talk about the senior ADA emergency services stuff, or
Oh, sure.
Okay.
So you probably noticed in this lower right corner here that this is our attempt to tie critical infrastructure and areas of commerce, as well as gathering places that we see as key for our county and city in particular. And Al noticed very quickly that not only was there a lack of continuity for passable sidewalks or sidewalks in any good shape, but that they primarily run in one direction. I believe it's east to west. Yeah, and very few, if any, sidewalks exist going from north to south. So one of our biggest concerns, of course, is not just the luxury of recreating on trails, but having passable areas in town where we literally are not coming around the corner, and we've all seen them. People in wheelchairs, people on walkers, in the road. Don't start me, okay? I was a PT for a long time. Do I have a heart attack every time I see that? Yeah, because one wrong time that a person isn't quite looking for that and doesn't have a familiarity with our situation of those people coming and going to access these key areas of gathering places, commerce, infrastructure. We don't even have a sidewalk, quite honestly, that is continuous from the school to the hospital. So, you know, that makes you wonder about levels of priority. Al was nice and tried very hard to meet with the city. We've all been there and talked with them. We realize there are, you know, possible people that would resist that burden of expense, or, you know, the issue of breaking up parking that exists on these roadways, et cetera. But we feel that first and foremost, that's really vital if we want to be a truly livable and accessible community that thrives and avoid some god-awful tragedy and ensuing lawsuits. The other issue is we've thought about communities that have been affected by terrible disasters such as flooding. We know that a certain contingency of the Townsend area is in floodplains or perhaps a railway hazard that develops. There's no great evacuation route up to higher ground, either across the Missouri Bridge for people that might suddenly not have a vehicle because of that occurrence, right? People that are facing maybe emergency traffic coming in, people that might want to try to go toward fairgrounds up to get higher shelter, right? There's just nothing in place that would allow safe passage with people, again, either impaired, maybe pushing baby strollers, dragging belongings because my car was just lit up by the train that derailed and, you know, whatever. So those are probably, in my mind, a little bit more of a priority than just recreational access. Yes, we'd love to see an expansion of, and tying into the Parks and Recs plans for, you know, things that go out toward the gun range or golf course, other places. Yeah, you bet we would, but we're especially concerned about those types of issues.
Thank you, Kate.
I'm sorry, what was your name?
Yeah, I'm Kate Humphrey. Sorry, I didn't introduce.
That's okay, thanks.
So as we've started this and moved along, one of the things that popped up was the fact that there already is an existing paddler's trail from Headwaters Park to Toston Dam. And so we looked at that and said, well, why don't we extend that on down here? So so that's the blue line on there that follows the river all the way to the lake. Probably wouldn't designate it clear to the lake because we don't have any easy takeout right there at that. So it would probably, the designation would probably stop here at the
Indian
bridge,
Creek.
at Indian Road Campground. But that's, talking with Fish, Wildlife and Parks, that's a fairly easy thing. They've already been looking at portals and signage and those kind of things. So that's kind of something new and different for the plan. The other, and I appreciate Kate bringing it up, and that's probably the biggest issue in trying to look at trails, both recreational evacuation, is the bridge and the river. And so we put that in the plan. That's been our number one priority all the way, is that thing, we got to figure it out. It's going to be expensive. You know, I've heard estimates talking to people that do bridges all the way from $5 to $10 million.
Are you talking like a walking path, or what?
Pedestrian
Pedestrian
bridge over
bridge.
there.
We started talking about a cantilevered bridge on the highway bridge, and I think that's been now taken care of.
Yes.
Yeah,
They
okay.
tried.
That ain't
They
gonna
said
happen.
no.
So it's down to the point of a bridge, and that's about all we can say about it until such time as we put some money on the table, get a consultant to come out and look, and at least look at the river from the bridge down towards the lake, and try and figure out where a good place would be, what makes sense in the long run, and what kind of bridge it might be. I mean, I know there's tons of alternatives. We thought, we were really creative. We thought we'd just put a cable car across there. Make that work. Get your exercise and everything. But, so the bridge is the biggie. The other trails, we pulled all the trails out of the wildlife management area at the request of Fish, Wildlife, and Parks. So there's no reference to trails there. So that's what we've heard from the public, and that's what we put together. Let's see, I'm trying to think. I don't want to miss anything here. Right, the biggest, for me, the biggest thing right now on the table to do from a plan standpoint is to get that kind of system digitized on a set of maps that professionally portray laying the trails or the roads on, and not just hand-drawn, and not just, especially my hand-drawing, but get that done. And I do have, I think Zach from Southwest Montana Mountain Bike Association and I might get together this week. He's got a system that he said he thinks he can work up that I can do. Does the county have GIS capability?
Madam Chair, can I respond?
Yes.
Nicole Brown, Broadwater County Community Development Director. The county has GIS capability. Is GIS staff capable? That's another question.
Okay.
I am GIS staff. Sorry. I do have a pretty robust ArcGIS mapping system that I use for 911 addressing, and I am certain that it does have the capability. I definitely do not have the knowledge, but am willing to run it past our folks at the state to see if they can teach me or if it's something they can do.
I'm wide open for either volunteers or people to teach me, but that's what it's going to take to get the mapping, I think, looking a lot better.
Al, can you talk a little bit about the connectivity to the other county systems?
Yeah, thank you. So one of the things that popped up was, and you'll read it in this plan, you read it in almost all the other statewide discussions, tourism discussions, is this work, live, play concept. I think those are the three words that are used. And so I've had several discussions with people about how Broadwater County fits that. And one of the things that fits it is that, well, people live here and they like to be here and do those things, but they might like to go tie into some real existing trail systems, like in Lewis and Clark County or Gallatin County. I'm not aware that Marr County and Jefferson have any trail systems at all. But so then that led to another discussion with MBAC about the business ideas of trying to lace all this together with the surrounding counties and start dealing with business traffic and tourism impacts and things like that. So we do have, and I described them in the thing, they're just not on there because I haven't figured out how to add them so that they don't just show up like black lines. But so there's a route that takes off at the county line on 287. So the Jefferson Broadwater County line on 287, way south of Three Forks. At that point, if you turn on Willow Creek and go down to the town of Willow Creek, and then take the old Yellowstone Road all the way up into Three Forks, you pick up the trail, the Headwaters Trail system in Three Forks, come out, cross the river, you can come up over the top and down to Old Town Road, and you can get around all of that interchange stuff and get back to 287 where Old Town Road ties in, out there at the bottom of the hill. So that's a connecting route, takes you through 3/4. It gets you off of that section highway, and if you've driven it, you know that there are rock bluffs right down to the, almost literally the pavement. It's not a safe route, and I think that's one of the things we have to be careful of is don't show routes that aren't safe. We know that's not a safe one. There's no shoulder outside the white line. It's just the white line's in the gravel. So that's one. The other is Dry Creek, up over 16 Mile and around and tie back into Highway 12, almost at the junction over out of White Sulphur. That's a route. The other one is up Ross Gulch to Grassy and back to the highway right up on top. So there's two routes there that get you into Marr County. The third one that gets you into Marr County is Duck Creek, up over the top and then down Birch Creek and all the way into White Sulphur that way. So we would show those three. Obviously, the Highway 284 goes around and hooks into Lewis and Clark County on the road, over the dam and on into the Helena Valley, just like the highway route does. The two lakeside trail systems would tie in on the north end, and they would tie into the highway system and could get you out. And then on the south end, on the west side, Lone Mountain Road and all that county road system goes all the way over, picks up on the Boulder side and all the way into just out of Boulder on the county and secondary roads. So those feed all of the adjacent county that, I mean, there are probably other routes, but we just got to, we can't show every conceivable one. And that one I think is big from the discussion because part of this is, what are the business impacts of doing this kind of things? Those I think then allow us to talk about traffic coming through, not just they stop at the line because we don't have anything. A lot of this is just notifying, letting people know that, hey, there's ways to get through here on a bike or hike, depending on what your system is. So there's some work left to do on the River Trail and remapping stuff. And then I think some of us have talked a little bit about, so what do we do with this? And I think this is the question for you guys. We've done all this under BCDC, and I think their vision through discussions with us is that we'll get this plan written to what you might call a final draft, and the mapping cleaned up and stuff, so it at least is professional looking, and then we can get around to other organizations, the school service groups. We certainly need to tie in with Lewis and Clark County, Gallatin County, their park and recs people, Prickly Pear, Gallatin Valley Land Trust, in some probably more formal presentations. Get the feedback from those people to finalize this thing. But because I hate to put something out that all of a sudden somebody looks at it and goes, hey, they're talking about coming into Gallatin or Lewis and Clark County. How'd they do that? So we just want to make sure that stuff gets taken care of. So that's it. Questions?
Thank you for all this work. I know what you have put into this, and your expertise is amazing. Aside from what Kate, I totally hear what you're saying, Kate. But can you give us an update, or have you been talking to DOT on the stuff out, the non-motorized trail that goes into a motorized trail that might go away out north of town here?
To the silos.
Yeah, to the silos.
The old highway.
Based on the expansion of the highway.
We have helped profile that issue to them. We have not really done anything other than that, other than to say we are definitely, this group is definitely looking at a trail that goes out there. So how you take that, how you deal with the ATV traffic and through the highway rebuild system, I don't know how they're going to do that.
It's going away.
And so,
Madam Chair, may I add
Yes.
to that? So we talked with Brandon from MDT the
Okay.
week before last. And I talked with Carol about this, and I think you were gone, Al, so I didn't reach out to you, but I figured I'd talk to you tonight. They said, well, first off, that whole trail is an MDT right-of-way, which we all know. There is like, I think, one sign that says no motorized vehicles. It's supposed to be no motorized vehicles. I said, well, who's enforcing that?
Yeah.
They were like, well, the county would have to enforce it. I'm like, yeah, right. Like, I mean, you know, like the sheriff's office isn't going to take time to enforce that. However, with the rebuild of the roads and what's coming, there's going to be portions of the trail that are just going to get cut out completely. And they said they're going to try and not do that, but you know, they'll leave it intact as much as they can, but there's going to be portions that are too narrow, like by Cottonwood, which we were kind of confused because I thought initially they were stopping by the mansion, but apparently they're coming further down. So that's going to,
Oh, really?
yeah, so that's going
Springdale Road.
to cut out, yeah, it's going to cut out there, just portions of the trail, whatnot. So,
So,
and I don't know how motivated they're going to be to maintain or keep a trail that they don't necessarily want people using anyway, because they know it's being used in a manner that they don't want.
So the trail from the old highway asphalt template to the bridge is part of what was done
by Beth Island.
20 years, 25 years ago by Beth. I think that, I think
It
that
is
was under the
non-motorized.
auspices of BCDC, but I don't know that. It could have been Rotary.
Yeah.
And the signs continually get torn down, the ones that
Yeah.
say non-motorized traffic.
Yeah.
We've found them in the
Yeah.
bushes and everything else.
And there's like no.
There's
good way
no
to
safe
regulate it.
place for people to take their ATVs and cross over
Right.
before that
So
bridge
the
area.
thing
So-
that we said through the Trails Committee to the Highway Department, we wrote a letter a couple years ago to them. We said we would like to see 2 underpasses, one up by the silos, one down by the mansion, in there someplace. Pick your spot. And I know at that time, we were told, well, you know, we need to look at the wildlife needs. Maybe we can marry those together, you know, okay. So I think we ought to continue to push that, because otherwise, no matter what you do, you're gonna have people jackrabbiting across 5 lanes of 80-mile-an-hour traffic. And I don't think that's acceptable. If we know ahead of time that that's gonna be a problem. The other is put trails on both sides. And all we've talked about is the one trail, but I think, you know, as you look at it, all the subdivision development on the west side of that road has gotta get tied in somehow.
Well, if you can tie in the moose crossing, the fatalities for the wildlife there, the fatalities of the markers that we have up already,
Yeah.
that indicate that we have a need for it, not just for people, but for wildlife.
Oh, yeah.
And then we all need to make an effort to show up for the public hearings, because that's the only way they respond.
Yeah. And when we talked to Dave Gates was the project design engineer. I don't know if he still is. He's not?
I don't think so.
Okay. That was his thing. He says, you've got to try and make the pitch from a wildlife standpoint, and then throw in the safety issue, that kind of thing. And I remember he talked about the ATV use, and didn't sound good for that. But
Yeah, I can't see him be excited about, hey, we'll let you put a trail in our right of way, even though we know everybody's gonna use it for ATVs and we don't want
Yeah.
any, I'm assuming it's like just a.
So
low-
the interesting part is the last legislature passed some legislation about
Wildlife crossings.
Yes.
crossings. And so
was in the
I
paper.
don't know all of what that means, but I think it's an opening, okay? I think it's an opening for us to push for out here. We need that underpass on 2 places to get people on both sides of the highway so they're not running across. And then a trail on both sides, frankly, would be good. What Mr. Gates told us when we met with him was that his design team might be able to help make sure there was some level ground on the outside edges of that right-of-way through the construction efforts. So with that, and then also talking with them, you know, obviously if we go after federal money, we're going to build an 8 to 10 foot wide paved trail. That's what they require.
It's minimum.
Yeah. If we use other monies, if it's non-federal money, then they're a little more lenient on what that surfacing has to be. And they'll have to approve the plan. But I talked to them, I said, so if we use, crushed granitics or some other stuff, and I'm thinking, the Gallatin guys use a different kind of composition stuff for laying trails. It looks like asphalt was done, but it's there, so. Anyway. So still a lot of unanswered questions, a lot of grant opportunities. There's still a lot of spec stuff, but.
I have another question. I think you mentioned that you had some priorities, and I know that these are numbered. So I was curious, without looking at these already, Al, in order for the Parks and Recreation Board to incorporate the trail system with the parcels of land, I was just curious as to whether or not if things started happening out here and it didn't fit your priorities, would we be able to work with you all in bumping up a trail priority to get people out to these parcels of land?
Yeah, what we did is we tried to identify like 10 priorities.
4 and 5.
10?
And,
Okay.
yeah, and, pick and choose, they're not necessarily 1, 2, 3, you gotta do 1 before you do 2. It's like,
Okay.
these are top priorities that
Okay.
we see as a committee.
All right.
And we haven't heard anything different from people we've talked to that lump of trails catches the ones that are most important.
Okay, great.
And so, yeah,
And I
we'd be
think-
on board with that.
Okay, and I think some of that's going to tie into what Kate's talking about too, safe passages and all of that, so.
And if you read that, there was one of the things in there was the emergency services, emergency evacuation centers. You all know how many Broadwater County has, right? 1.
It's way
And
out
it's the
there.
church. So if something happens and you can't get over that bridge, across that river, where do you go? So the county's got some work to do with that stuff.
Is that what Aaron Reynolds confirmed with you, was just the one church?
Yeah. Now, I haven't checked with him in the last week, but a week ago, that was the only one that he knew of.
Because, we have Fairgrounds as the Emergency Operations Center, but,
Right, there's
yeah.
an evacuation center. And I know, talking to Richard, who's done a lot of that with the Belgrade schools and Belgrade stuff, what it takes to be a Red Cross certified evacuation facility is substantial. So,
Okay, do we have any
Anything else?
more questions for Al? All right, I want to thank you very much for coming. I appreciate
Thank
the
you.
time and the
Thank you.
effort and tremendous work
tell you
so
what.
far.
this committee, these two have been at almost every meeting, but the whole committee has been outstanding. We wouldn't be where we are without.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank. All right, let's go to Townsend Youth Baseball. What do we have, Gary? John, either one?
I guess I'll start. So, Gary Bowman, I'm the high school baseball coach and a member of the Townsend Youth Baseball League Board. Thank you. John is back behind me. He's the president of the Youth Baseball Board. So, I guess I'm kind of going in blind. So, what questions do you have for us about what we're doing and where we're at? I guess is maybe more.
Madam Chair, can I?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah.
So at our last meeting, we were talking about these different concepts.
Yep.
And we wanted to get feedback from Rod and Gun Club and what their plans are for the future golf course, which we heard tonight. And so then the trails, and then based on, we know that there's baseball fields throughout some of these concepts, what you all are thinking for a need, and then also what's happening with high school baseball.
Okay, so let me talk just youth baseball, because that's kind of the direction I guess I'm going to start with high school baseball. So when we started with high school baseball, we realized that there was not much room for us to do our high school baseball. So high school baseball for us is done practicing up at the school. We're out on the football field, put up a cage, we use the football field as an infield. We do most of our practicing up there at the football field. We have games during the day when usually when school is in session, so we're not stepping over the youth baseball out on our 2 fields in town. That was kind of the agreement with the city, that the high school baseball would not step on the toes of the youth baseball. We would completely avoid anything with them. They have first priority at the fields that we have here. So from the high school baseball stance, that's what we agreed upon, and we are perfectly happy with that. We do a lot of practicing up here at the school, and then for games, we get out there and we play like at 1 o'clock in the afternoon when it's not being used. Some of those games will go like 11 and 1 when we're having 2 games out there at the same time. So games don't happen out here until 6 o'clock. Practices usually don't happen until 4 o'clock.
And they're strictly at McCarthy?
Yeah, McCarthy. Yep. Connors Field gets used for overflow. We have been keeping our eyes and ears open for girls softball in case that needs to come out there to Connors Field. But all of our work, youth baseball is out at McCarthy. We get some overflow with practices and a couple games out at Connors, but youth baseball over there at McCarthy. That being said, we have 17 teams. 18 teams.
Little League.
Yep, so ages T-ball through 15, so not high school. Take them out of the equation completely because they can take care of their own stuff, okay? They just need that one time to find a game 1 day a week out there. So we really, they don't get in the way of the youth baseball. So when we talk about youth baseball, and this is why I brought Mr. Bliley along as well with me because he kind of is my support. 18 teams, 2 fields. Yeah, so think about practices. Think about how that works. It's a nightmare. Now, of those 18 teams, I believe 9 of them are T-ball teams. 8 of them are T-ball teams. So 10 teams, 8 T-ball teams. So 10 teams, T-ball doesn't practice a whole lot. They just use, and they start using just areas of those fields. So they don't really use the fields. They use like, hey, we'll put you over there, then we'll put you over there. We'll overflow over to the other park, the skate park. So they get a lot of overflow. So then it's really kind of ends up being 10 teams on those 2 fields, which really is, I guess, 3 fields, isn't it? Because we also have the one over by the small field that we've made over by the behind tennis courts by the Mormon church. Okay, so that field we also use as well. So when you start spreading those teams out and trying to practice 3 days a week, plus games 2 days a week, sometimes 3 days a week, it's a real stretch to try to say that we can get that number of teams. We have 207 this last year. I think that was the number of 216. 216. Yeah. You should just come up here and talk. I thought I was doing pretty well.
Here for the math, yeah, I got that.
So, yeah, John Bliley, Townsend Youth Baseball. So last year was 216, not counting high school. If we counted high school, it's 230 kids playing baseball. And like Gary said, we do boys and girls all the way up to majors. Technically, we do it in Babe Ruth too, but most of the time the girls will branch off since there's nothing else for them. They'll typically go into the volleyball thing, which is good. So, yeah, but that's kind of how it is. So like Gary talked about, there's 216 to 230 kids competing for, realistically, 3 fields, right? Soccer field, we can kind of use the skate park a little bit, but it's been condensed down so much with the skate park that now the soccer league can't even use it, so they're bumping back over to McCarthy Park to play their games and stuff. So they don't have any fielding or anything like that now. So if you drive by McCarthy Park, you'll see big soccer nets out there because they're playing their games over there on Saturdays now because Tracy ran out of, just like our program, her program's grown immensely as well. So
to kind of get an idea is how our program's growing. I think our numbers are Three Forks and Manhattan combined. Number of youth that plays in Townsend are those two communities combined pretty much push that 250 mark if you're to add those two together. So we have a lot of baseball being played here. It really is pretty spectacular. We have a very active board that has really come a long ways. That's why we're able to get high school baseball going, is because of these wonderful people that help us out on that board. And just creativity on how to make practices and games work. Sometimes we'll have 3 fields out there and 5 teams practicing. So you can figure out how that happens. It's not easy. And that, once again, take high school out of it. We're not in that equation at all, because we can just take care of our own up on the football field. So that's really where it comes down to the issue. That's the issue. The solution would be minimum of 4 more fields, 3 what we would call little league size fields, and 1 what we would call Babe Ruth size field.
Yeah.
So little league size field, I think, has fences that are 250,
200,
and then the Babe Ruth is
Babe
300.
Ruth goes to 3, yeah.
Yeah, so 300-foot fences. So that's kind of the, that would be what we really need to be able to keep moving forward with what we got. We're making it do, but we're really getting youth baseball kids show up to practice, and you get this small little corner to work on grounders, or the one day out in the parking lot that he had his team practicing out on gravel, trying to do stuff, and it's hard.
You had a question?
Yeah, so have you guys seen this?
Yeah, you're gonna have to refresh my memory.
Yeah.
It's been a while since we looked at it.
So I got concept 1, 2, and 3, and so I'm concerned that there's gonna be if you're needing 4 more fields. And then the other question I had was, I thought, Gary, at one of the meetings you said one of the fields at McCarthy Park didn't meet high school specs.
It's short by about 20 feet. We found out MHSA doesn't care.
It's grandfathered.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, you're good. They're just happy to play.
Okay.
So MHSA really and when we start looking around other fields, yeah, I see why.
Okay.
Yeah, they're okay with it. They were afraid of, our fence is 280 feet. They like that fence down the line in high school to be 300. 20 feet's not bad. They were happy.
So you're good, you don't need a new field for high school?
No, the McCarthy field will do.
Perfect.
Yes.
Okay.
If you look at Babe Ruth and high school baseball, basically play on the same size field anyways.
Okay.
So that's why that is kind of how that's been working.
Okay.
So that's why that field just seems to work for all of it.
But optimally, all 4 fields, you'd like to have 300-foot fences?
Not all of
For
them.
tournament?
No.
No?
So every 4 years, so just to kind of back this up, because I see a lot of new board members, so we'll give you the history a little bit. 5 years ago, we submitted a proposal to the Parks and Rec Board that kind of started this whole process, right? About the strategic plan and everything else in regards to where we could have fields, where we might not be able to, and kind of what the consensus was it was going to be from our foxhole. We had the high school kids drafted up in Mr. Watson's class. We presented it here, and we came up with the plan kind of similar to what Helena has, right? If you go to the fairgrounds, if you go by Helena there, you look at all those baseball fields. Well, all those baseball fields, guess what? When the season's off, they turn into football fields. And then what they do is they turn into soccer fields. So that was kind of our concept with the design we had, was to be able to do that. So throughout this 5-year process, we've grown immensely. We've gone from, about 93 kids playing. We had 185 in 2024, and we got 230 playing now. So we only anticipated growing a little more and more each year. With that being said, we realize that the county's only got finite resources, and we all got to come together to figure out what our end goal is going to be for our youth growing up in the community. And since that time frame, like Gary talked about, it was it was hectic trying to get, at that time, I think we only had about 12 or 14 teams to try to get them all practice space to include game space. So we developed internally a spreadsheet with all the real estate within the city and the county, and then we would pencil in whatever field it was to include Connors. We talked with the softball board guys, and they were great with it. And so during the off season, we went out and we put in some pegs for baseball, and then those bases could be converted back into softball. And so we did that. We brought a mound out there for that, a portable mound where they could take off, we could add in and things like that. And so we've really set, for a lack of a better term, a schedule. We sent it, I think Nicole's got access to it. The mayor and her staff have access to it. The softball folks have access to it, and so do we at baseball. And I think Tracy Mon has access to it for her soccer folks, so she can know when we're practicing and those kinds of things. Because realistically, from March until June, July, if we do fall baseball, that'll go till October. But realistically, we're going to be using those baseball fields from that time. So
Most of those teams are done early June.
First week in June
is
the tournament.
And then there's some travel teams that they get some use out of the fields up at McCarthy Park a little bit during the summer, practicing and such. So
yeah. And then I think in our proposal that we threw out to you guys here a while back, about every 4 years, we belong to the Gallatin Valley Baseball League. About every 4 years, it rotates for tournaments. And you have to have so many fields. They got to be such and such a distance. And so we hosted one 2 years ago. That's when we first really started using Connors, because we needed that for overflow. It's a great concept, but really what it does is it stretches our resources to be able to kind of manage that, because then we have to have more umps, right? The 4-H club was phenomenal over the past several years with running our concession stands, and they missed out on a lot of money because we couldn't have a concession stand out there. We just couldn't make it work. So the primary concession stand was at McCarthy, but gosh, when we had that tournament, we raised about $7,500. They did. So, which pays for a lot of their stuff. So yeah.
So is that, sorry, I feel like I'm hogging the whole entire.
No, you're asking great questions.
Okay. So then a question, because obviously Parks and Recreation Board doesn't have any money.
Right.
So would you all be utilizing those tournaments to help kind of do some fundraising?
Yeah, so what we do is we do fundraisers throughout the year. We also, we're one of the few baseball leagues out there that uses our kids for what we call in-kind money, right? So we wrote a proposal. We have a MOU that we're finalizing with the city. And they'll pay for certain parts of upkeep for McCarthy, and then the baseball club will pay for the rest.
Okay.
And so we're redoing, let's say if you drive by there now, you'll see some of the dugouts are painted. We got to finish the painting on them. We re-roofed them. We got to finish the re-roofing on them and those kinds of things. So we use grants too as well. We've received a grant from the trust board, so we'll put that to use once we get that money in. But that's really it. There's no other upkeep, right? As you guys know, there's no funding source for Parks and Rec. So the city's been very generous. They paid for our paint for the clubs, and Mr. Crush, Eric Crush, has done a phenomenal job helping us if we needed to lengthen a field, moving some sprinklers. We get donations to cut the grass back and those kinds of things. So yeah.
A lot of the work, the manual labor is done by us as
Volunteers.
And the kids, yeah.
This year we ran our own concessions all year long. We're also running concessions at the high school rodeo
this weekend. Yeah.
This coming weekend. Come on out, have a burger. And hey, thanks.
Those are good at your plugs, just sliding those right in
Yeah,
there.
and good looks.
It's all community effort. It takes a community.
So
Yeah,
we do
for sure.
have a lot of our own money to get some of the equipment that goes along. We've purchased now a couple batting cages that we've put along because those are really getting pretty ugly, which allows us, those batting cages allows us to work this 10 teams into 2.5 fields, because you can just send group over to work in the batting cages. And then now they don't have to be on the field for an hour. So there's a lot of things that you can work on that way.
Yeah.
So we've raised money over the past whatever years, and we're starting to put that money to use, getting new uniforms and equipment and stuff. So, yeah.
So will you tell me what your season is again? You guys start like the youth season. No, I'm not talking high school. The youth season. What do you
And
guys do?
they're about the same time.
They
so we can pretty much talk about the same time. The youth baseball starts April, first week in
usually
April.
the first week in April. High school's a couple weeks before us, but
Mid-March.
So are you talking about like T-ball starts that early?
No, T-ball usually.
they start a month after,
Yeah.
so they'll start usually that last part of May.
So who starts in April?
All of the bigger kids, so
the
from the
bigger
Babe Ruth all the way down to the rookies.
So 15-year-olds down to 8-year-olds, 7.
So to give you an age range, so T-ball is 4 to 6 years old.
Okay.
Rookies are 7 to 8-year-olds. Minors kids are 9 and 10. Majors kids are 12 and 13. And then Babe Ruth is technically 13 to 16 now.
So we had four of that first 7 and 8-year-olds, 4 teams of 7 and 8-year-olds. That we know that group is coming up and through and filling in behind us. We know how big the school is getting. At those lower grades, we're going to be that
Small,
230 is turning into 250 pretty easily. So we had 4, and then all the other levels all had 2, except for then Babe Ruth had 1 next year, 1 team. So.
Okay. So the T-ball and the rookies are kind of the same schedule?
No, T-ball's condensed into about a month.
Yeah.
Okay.
The rookies go about
May,
2 months.
Rookies go about 2 the normal baseball season, yeah.
Okay.
They don't really, right now,
April through
through June.
beginning of June.
Yeah.
It's easiest to say that.
So T-balls and rookies, they obviously don't have tournaments,
Right.
but minors, majors, and Babe Ruth all have tournaments. So, and then high school obviously has tournaments too. But, yeah.
Okay.
I have one more.
Yes,
I
you
have
do.
one more.
We're gonna
One
get
more
to that.
question, okay.
We're going to.
So this is why this is important,
Yeah.
because, so there's a need for 4 fields.
4 would be very,
Optimal.
yeah, yes, it would be very optimal.
And so I'm looking at the concepts of what the master plan that the commissioners have approved. And that would put us with concept 3 because of what the golf course is planning. I know you all haven't been to some of the previous meetings with Rod and Gun Club, but at this point in time, they're not planning on moving.
Okay.
So we had also, I think at the last meeting, we talked about screening. He's been doing a lot of research on planting trees and stuff for screening. So we just, if this is this concept 3, it sounds like that's the one that is making most sense. We're going to need to really coordinate with Rod and Gun Club on some of this stuff and how.
There wouldn't be room for those 4, for the fields, for the
Because that looks
concept
like
3.
it's,
That's
is that
8
kind of
fields.
talking 8 fields?
That's 8
right?
fields.
Yeah, we only
That's
need
8 fields.
Okay,
So-
so,
this one.
but this doesn't work.
But that
This one
doesn't
doesn't work.
This
We're
is the
just
golf
moving over
course.
here.
Yeah.
Carol, remember he said they were talking about rotating too.
I know, but it all depended on funds too.
We could get-
because
I
it was
think
gonna
it's-
cost
yeah,
a
for
lot of
sure,
money to
but yeah.
I
move.
think
So
That was just gonna.
would concept 3 just the one set of fields, not both fields?
Yeah, I think whatever is
Because
your
we could,
needs and then,
at McCarthy Park, we have room, I haven't measured it out, I shouldn't even say that. I think, put it that way, we have room to move the smaller field to be long enough to handle another set of, or a bigger, like 300-foot fence.
Yeah, our smallest one, right, well, the one in the middle right now is, the fence is set at 200 feet. So we got the ability to extend that out if we need to.
I think to be able to keep the Rod and Gun Club, their 4 traps, they trap houses, we could only get 2 fields in that one little tiny triangle.
in this one right here.
That,
and
yeah.
this one.
Which is
But
what concept 1's about, right?
Which
Kind of
breaks it
concept
up.
1, and then we're back to the issue of
That-
families.
That makes
how-
no sense, because when you guys first designed Connors Field, the point of the designing Connors Field out there was to put extra diamonds out there.
Mhm.
Eventually, yeah.
And then, yeah,
That's your conundrum, is you gotta figure out Rod and Gun Club.
Rod and Gun Club, and if we do that
Yeah.
one, how many families want
Yeah.
the kids playing next to gunfire?
No, we wouldn't.
Well-
golf balls.
We wouldn't, yeah.
And the other part of this is, would be working with the golf club and saying, hey, Jesse, when is your, I know you're looking at doing your driving range concept, but aside from that, the area that you're planning for your golf course, would it be sensible, workable, until you get the money for your golf course, to allow the baseball fields to go in that area on multi-use fields, as we talked about in the very first design concept, multi-use fields until the golf club got all their money together, and then we would be looking at additional, by then, maybe Rod and Gun Club can move, and
And you'd move the baseball fields again.
and then we'd move the baseball fields over to Rod and Gun. I don't know.
That would be expensive with the
No,
dugouts and
that's-
everything.
yeah.
Multi-use fields, though, I mean, these wouldn't be just dugout
Right.
baseball fields, but multi-use fields.
Yeah,
And
for
that would
sure.
be many, many years coming, I think, for you to get your 9-hole concept going. I know you have your driving range concept here.
How many acres does Rod and Gun Club have up Indian Creek? 162? Yeah. So they have 162 acres up there, and then they have, what's the acreage down there?
Well, the whole open acreage we have was 93, but I'm not sure how much they use.
They're
So-
using about 30.
They're using 30 or 40 acres down there as well. So they have 200 acres of
county
county
land.
land tied up.
But they have a lot of,
They have a lease
yeah.
I got that.
or
I
agreement or
understand that.
whatever.
Yep.
And so we're just, and I understand what you're saying. And I mean, even if they were talking about moving one of the traps, it was a lot of money to move it, so it wouldn't be,
Like $20,000
yeah.
to move one.
So we're trying to be sensitive to everyone's
Sure.
needs. And maybe, like what Jen is talking about whenever their lease is up, I don't know, but they're,
2029.
I mean, it's gonna take a lot of money for them to pick up that trap and that range and move it.
Well, yeah, you're gonna
up
have to
there.
environmentally clean it out before you put baseball fields on, and that's gonna cost the county a ton of money.
So, and they're pretty self-sufficient right now. They don't rely on the county for anything. And they're expanding
land.
according to what they talked about. So
Right.
just, it's really good to throw everything out on the table so everyone knows, so that we can be together and coordinate.
Can I throw another thought out on the table? Centerville property. I mean, it's not.
We
a-
talked
It wasn't
about it.
lo-
It's
wide
not a
enough.
size for like your
It's in a
big field,
floodplain.
but it is a place where you could have multi-use fields.
But we have no irrigation.
No
We have to
irrigation.
put a well and put all the infrastructure for a well, including the electricity. And it wasn't long enough to put a baseball. That's
Yeah.
why we chose not to even put fields other than put hard surface courts and things out there because of that.
Yeah, they offer, I mean, the Parks and Rec in the county was kind enough to offer us those 10 acres, but when I started researching it, as soon as I got to the floodplain, and over 3/4 of it's in a floodplain, yeah, I mean, you can't play baseball when it's full of 3-4 inches of water, so.
Well, we plant 3 or 4 inches of snow.
We do, but that's different.
But again, I mean, we went through the public hearings, we went through the conceptual drawings and the facilities. What we've got now is, working with all the different entities to try to see what we can do in the interim, or, look until we can get some more permanent facilities, looking at the interim to see if we can accommodate other soccer, baseball, softball, multi-use fields in that area, because everybody needs it leveled and everybody needs it green. So whatever we do with that, I think that's how we need to look at
Yeah,
and maybe
I'll-
try to work it out.
I'll be curious to see how the county divides up those water permits out there for this master plan. That'll be interesting for me, for the 424 permits and everything else
Yeah.
Water permits.
out there for the irrigation.
Does the county have any?
That's what I'm asking. I don't think they do.
I don't think the county has
You
anything.
guys do, correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think the county, that's why, when she said everything's gotta be green, that clicked my memories. I don't think county owns any water rights out there to be able to.
There is one well
One well.
for Commerce. I don't know exactly where it's at, but I know there's a well out there.
And we put the new
But
pump
I don't
system in there.
think-
Mike Dilger helped us put a new pump system in that for Connors Field.
And
Gotcha.
Rod and Gun Club said they took out their well too. They took over that well, so there must be another well out there. Unless they're maintaining the Connors well.
I don't know.
Didn't they put their own in?
Further research, okay.
Madam Chair?
They make
Yes.
Was the Centerville, I mean, I know there's floodplain up to like this part, right?
A third of the way up.
Yeah, but what, was it not wide enough for fields? Was that the issue?
Yeah, so,
Right.
so the small field, it's the one in the middle out there at McCarthy Park. So on average, for a field to be 200 feet out to the fence, you're looking at about 3 acres of land. For a Babe Ruth type field, you're looking at 5 to 6 acres per field. And that's not really squeezing in any kind of parking either, so.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't count your dugouts and your other maintenance fencing and everything else that still has to stay within your property boundary.
Right, yep.
And you've got to have setbacks. I mean, we can't just put a fence right there and call it good on the private property boundaries. So, right, and that's why we kind of discounted Centerville property for any kind of baseball stuff, and we were looking at that for more tennis courts, basketball, outdoor concrete structures that didn't require the well, didn't require the maintenance of those.
The county should buy a timber place.
RY
We were
Timber.
just talking about that, whispering about that.
Just float it out there, trade them Centerville, they'll be good.
There's,
Environmental cleanup though.
yeah, I was gonna say, you think the Rod and Gun has environmental
Oh, yeah,
cleanup? There's
yeah.
like a whole brownfield cleanup necessary.
For
on
sure,
that.
yeah.
But there's a whole bunch of different things being discussed there, but Nicole and I were just quietly saying, even it would just be so interesting, and I don't know how this would work, and I'm sure it would be a pie in the sky type of thing, but just to see if even a portion of that could be, like, that there's right along Mill Road there.
Yep.
And I don't know I don't know who owns, I don't know if you can see on there if you're on Cadastro, but who owns the little, there's like 3 storage, or there's like a tiny little storage
That green storage
deal.
facility.
Yeah, I don't, but I mean, if it'd be just interesting to see if even a piece of ground, like they would,
Yeah, if they could give you
you know.
what was right across from Connors.
Right,
That would be
something, well,
amazing.
I think that's private, isn't it, right across from Connors? Isn't that?
It's all RY.
Oh, that's still our right?
Yeah.
Okay. I couldn't, I.
Yeah, from the
was-
storage facility all the way up to the BLM land. is-
Okay. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what they would,
Yeah,
if they would. I mean, I guess you can ask, right? Like, the worst they say is no, but
Sure.
maybe you figure a trade, maybe you.
Sun Mountain now.
Do something.
Sun Mountain.
Sun Mountain out
Yeah,
of
Sun
Livingston.
Mountain, yeah.
Yeah,
But it's
Deerwood.
still, they're just sitting on it. I know nothing's been sold.
Yeah.
There's been some things discussed, but it's not moving right now.
And as far as environmental cleanup, it depends what kind of environmental cleanup and what you intend to do with it. I mean, entire Centennial Park in Helena used to be the old dump. And that's why their pit toilets sunk,
Yeah.
because now they have outhouses all tied to the trees. But it depends on what you're going to do with that land. If you put the topsoil and cover whatever it is that is environmentally hazardous.
Right.
And you
Right.
then restrict it for no digging and that kind of
Right.
stuff. So there are ways around the environmental cleanup, but other than that,
More questions.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
What is your timeline? Does baseball have a timeline?
4 years ago?
yes, we
So-
started this 4 years ago,
Well,
John.
I understand that, but we've also got the golf club.
Yeah,
the
for
golf
sure.
That's got a timeline too,
Yeah.
so.
We don't-
I'm on this board because I'm gonna move this forward. I want to move it
Yeah,
forward.
to put a hard timeline in there, honestly, I don't know. I mean, because all the strategic plans and everything else that I've dealt with, we're looking at 5 to 8 years. Just to get, I mean, no, from your guys' standpoint, 5 to
Yeah,
8
we're
years to
the
get it
long-
approved,
yeah.
and then to find the funding source, and then a few more
That's
years to
reasonable.
execute the plan once you guys get it. But
Perfect.
and that's why we're kind of, we're working with McCarthy Park and keeping that the way it needs to be. But I mean, realistically, I mean, when we started this 5 years ago, we thought 3 years and we'd have a field. We we didn't realize we would open up Pandora's box here to figure all these things out, so. Right, and that's what I told them when I made
You
my pitch to
envision
them.
it and others come.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so no real timeline, obviously the sooner the better, I mean, we got a lot of volunteers that can do stuff. But
Right now, you guys have no funding. Like if we came up, had a plan, you're same
give
with
you
us.
land?
You don't have,
Oh, no, we got funding. Yeah, we're a 501c3, so we generate quite a few dollars in donations and things like that, yeah.
so there is a fund kind of set to the side.
Yeah, there-
Not to cover it all, but there is something
Yep.
there.
Yeah, there's a funding source, and then we've got some in-kind from some major donors for some work and stuff like that, if you needed blade work or anything like that, so,
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yep, hey, we appreciate it. Yeah, that's it, I guess. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate the update, gentlemen. Appreciate it very much. Okay. All right, we're at 7:15 again, and our hour is up. Do we want to talk about the Parks and Rec strategic plan development?
I have
Do
some
we-
information for you guys though,
Okay.
before you push it.
Okay.
Sorry.
Let's
Before
go
you
ahead.
totally kick it. So I spoke with Dan Haggerty, who's a commissioner in Jefferson County. Interestingly enough, they have, it's called the Jefferson County Parks, Trails, and Recreation Commission. And there's 7 people appointed by their county commission for that. And it's its own little mini commission for Parks and Rec stuff. Their budget started with about $6,600, which was given to them from PILT. And they usually spend about $3,000 annually for maintenance. I think they're just getting funded out of PILT. It's maintenance, mowing, lighting, signage, and swag, because they go to, they'll do like Clancy Days and set up a booth and whatnot. They have, like our board, they have a planning department and commissioner liaison for the board. Right now, they're working on finding stakeholders who can help with some of their public areas and parks. And I just wanted to share this as ideas. We had talked about, we're talking about the baseball park in Ennis and how the Lions maintain that whole thing, because maintenance is such an ongoing issue for any project that we're looking at. So clearly we are not the only ones, but it's just something to consider. Maybe Legion, maybe Lions, maybe
Rotary Park.
Rotary, yeah, like who would help? Like, hey, we've got this big park now, or we've got fields. Like, who's going to help with maintenance and maintain that? Obviously, like Al has already worked with Prickly Pear Land Trust. They are working with Prickly Pear Land Trust right now. That's on a project that would connect Jefferson County and Lewis and Clark. So they're working through that. Their board's major focus right now is a travel management plan, is what he called it, for all the forest roads and trails in Beaverhead, Deer Lodge. Carol already knows this. She's like, thanks.
I'm so familiar with that. It's ridiculous.
She says their Parks and Rec is very involved with those broader efforts with that Beaverhead Deer Lodge working group, which is a bunch of different stakeholders, to implement that travel plan, just because they have so much spillover from Gallatin at this point, and there's no way to enforce a lot of things that are happening on the trails, in the mountains, in the forest there. Anyway, Dan did say that there is an Elkhorn Mountain Working Group as well, and he was like, you might want to have and see if one of your Parks and Rec members would be interested in being on the Elkhorn, being part of that working group or liaise to it.
I go to those regularly.
You do? Kyle, just stop it. You're
I'm
involved in
everywhere.
everything. Just everywhere. They are having a meeting on August 25th. They have their Parks and Rec meeting at 6:30 p.m. There is a Zoom link for it. He's going to send me the information and the agenda. A gentleman named Kerry White, you probably already know him. Guys, like you're stealing all my thunder here.
Sorry.
From Citizens for Balanced Youth Group. He's out of Bozeman, but he's like old school Bozeman. And they said he might be a great one to have come talk with our board as far as planning and directions stuff go. So if anyone is interested in that, I will pass on the link. I may just watch, if anybody else wants to watch their board meeting and see what they're discussing.
Is that Powell County or Jefferson?
It's Jefferson.
Thought Dan was in Powell County.
Dan Haggerty. No. Jefferson. So Yeah, that's, let's see, he said, yeah, just they're doing outreach. And, oh, the one other thing I wanted to add was we are currently looking, and we were discussing today, and we have a lot more to discuss and look at the financial side of it, but we're looking at a grant management software program for the county, which would be tremendously helpful because grants take a ton of time and management, and our finance department has to do a load of stuff for auditing and whatnot, and it's really difficult when you're dealing with grants in different departments. But this software is really cool. Commissioner Swenson can probably talk even more about it because he's been on the calls, but we are able to say, it allows you to look for grants. So you can search it by like Parks and Recreation, what the matching funds are, you know, what is required, how much of a grant, whatnot. Looking for everything, any department, any type of grant, which I think would be tremendous. And then it allows you to manage that grant process the whole way through. So it kind of prompts you, it gives you, I want to say, like the application, grant application formats, lots of different stuff. So if we do move forward with that, that would be very helpful for this board. I think we all thought, wow, that would be great for Parks and Rec specifically, DES, some other things that need grant funding, which would be good. So couldn't steal my thunder on that last one. So I don't know if you have anything to add to that. No? Okay.
Okay, thank you very much, Lindsay. Appreciate it.
Yep.
All right, any other questions?
Yeah, so I had Abra put on the strategic plan, and the more I got to thinking about it, it's more of an implementation plan. That's what we need. This is a shelf document, and we need some kind of action implementation to get through this document in order to move forward and scratch this off and goals, objectives, whatever. And so I feel like this board needs to talk about that, and I really want to see that push forward. And in fact, you know, if we're going to be running out of time at these board meetings, we probably need to, my recommendation would be to have a subcommittee to work on some of these items.
Okay, what do y'all think about a subcommittee? Kind of quiet down at this end.
I'm just digesting the thoughts right now.
I know, I'm like,
Yeah, it just depends on what the focus is.
I think the last couple meetings with all the information from Rod and Gun Club, golf course, and now baseball has taken up a lot of the information that we need, but at the same time took a lot of time. But now since we have quite a bit of their information, we can move forward. Maybe not with them taking the stage as much.
Okay, so want to defer it till next month and then hit it hard.
so do we ever get to work and like talk and do stuff?
Yeah,
or do we have these meetings? I just need some clarification on how the board works, because it's going to be difficult. I'm having a difficult time trying to get through an hour's worth of meeting, having the public come in and talk, which has been awesome.
Very informative.
But in order for my brain to move forward and be strategic, I don't. Do you guys have working meetings, or do you work amongst the public?
Sometimes we do. It depends on how we have to advertise that and how we have to put that out.
Working meetings,
meetings.
you guys, I was going to say, you guys can have as many meetings as you want to. And your working meetings, you can do your working meetings, you can't make decisions in working meetings, but you just notice them the same way. They need to have a 48-hour notice on them, but yeah, you can do working meetings, and that might be useful, as opposed to like a specific subcommittee. Like it might be useful just to have working meetings, and whoever can attend can attend.
And Madam Chair, can I ask a question? So remind me, Lindsay, the working meetings are not live streamed, but they are. But somebody takes minutes or notes or just.
I think it's helpful to take notes if someone wants to.
It's
But,
not live,
I mean,
right?
you could just record it, you know.
Okay.
Do.
I like the idea of a working meeting because we don't ever have time to talk. We've taken in all this great information, but now how do we all get on the same foot?
Okay. All right, so we'll set be in contact with each other, and we'll see if we can email out some dates, what works best for you for working meetings. And I'll sit down and I'll try to figure out what we have for a schedule.
Okay.
See if we can fit maybe 2 hours in. So I think it's going to take at minimum 2 hours to sit down and go through the documents we have, because this is not the only document we've done in the last 5 years. We also have the 2020 recreation plan for this entire county. So we will sit down with
copies
all
of that.
We'll sit down with those documents and the efforts we've put together for these different plans, and then sit down and do some work on those
That'd be great,
and
Jen.
see where we can go with
Madam
them.
Chair, that would
Okay.
be great.
Are
Okay.
there any other identities besides all of the people who are here, as well as the Rod and Gun Club, or do we?
Well, there were the ones that talked about when we were first looking at the 10-acre Centerville as
Okay.
being the first
They
project.
were the ones that
The
have
pickleball
interest.
group, the basketball groups, the tennis club, those are different groups that we had sat down with or talked
Okay.
with one-on-one or just kind of on our own to try to set that plan originally. And then that plan, along with the new baseball, kind of blew everything up for the entire combined county effort on both pieces of property.
Okay.
All right.
So, and we've kind of heard, and from the public, this is the document that came out,
Right.
and on what they'd like to see for those. Obviously, the big pie in the sky was the multi-use facility, and where we would put that and where we would go for money for that. But in the interim, we have entities now that need space now, or are using what they can now to make it work, or have their own boards and their own dreams to get to work their groups. So that's what we have to kind of massage in and see where we can work together. Okay?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Would you, is there anything specific you would like me, any information you would like from the county end of things? What are some specific things you guys would like it for me to be able to bring to a working meeting? And I know you might not know right now, but it would be helpful to know, because it's going to take me some time to look into things if there is.
Okay.
If you do have some
The
questions.
update you just gave was very helpful. My pen ran out of, both pens ran out of ink, so I'm sitting here trying. But I think that would be helpful to have those contacts and/or their composition of the boards and how they work their boards for the surrounding counties, especially one like Jefferson, where the size of what we've got. Any other suggestions for Lindsay, Commissioner?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
is this what you're talking about, the Rowan County?
Yes,
in March
County
23?
Recreation Plan.
Okay, so that's on the website. You can Google it.
I've seen that one before.
That took us 6 years, Nicole, to get through that one.
There was a COVID pause, but yeah.
There was a COVID pause, yes.
That's all the parks.
Mm-hmm. And we've done a few, I think we've done a few projects on that one, or worked our way through, and the skate park was one of the ones on there as well. And where those were. Okay.
It's underneath that other parks.
So number 9, we had for updates, discussion, decision for the vault toilet. Do we have any update on the vault toilet?
Madam Chair, no, I did reach out to Missoula Concrete, who we made our deposit to, and I think I told you this a few meetings ago, that they did find a buyer. So they'll be refunding us the roughly $10,000 that we have as a deposit. But I reached out to them, my contact there yesterday, and I haven't heard back, so
Okay.
I don't know what
Okay.
the status is on the refund.
Okay.
So.
All right, that'd be nice to get that back. Did you all talk about anything on the youth involvement for our board?
I had a scheduling conflict with the principal, so we're resetting up to talk about that, see if we can get it out to the school.
Okay. Okay, great. All right, new business. First and foremost, thank you, Carol, for writing the article for the paper.
Yeah, thank you.
I know Nancy Marks had contacted me while I was actually in Canada on vacation and asked me if I would put something together about the plan and about what the board does, and so I thank you very much for that. Okay, any new business to come before the board? Any further new business other than our strategic working group. We're having working meetings. Okay, any comments from the floor? Any further comments from the floor? Okay, hearing none, we'll look at the next meeting being September 15th. Is that good with schedules?
No,
I will be out of town. but
yeah,
Actually, Carol and I both will be
Yeah.
gone.
yep.
Good for me, but we can change it if we need to.
Oh, no, I'll be in town that day. It's a Monday.
Oh, it is?
Yeah,
Monday, the 15th. It's always the third Monday if we can get it in.
Yeah.
Yep.
because we're not leaving till Wednesday unless you got something going on.
No, you're right. Monday, I'm still
Okay.
on Monday. Yep.
Next meeting,
Yep,
September
that works.
15th?
Yeah.
All right, and I'll call this meeting adjourned at 7:30. How about that?